Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to our Christian Homestead, and it's time for our our weekly devotional. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar, I do a devotional that comes out every Sunday. We've been going through the book of John. Okay, it's in the book of John. We are in John chapter 8, and John chapter 8 we just got finished at the start of it, where it talks about the woman brought to Jesus who was caught in adultery, and now the next verse in the book of John chapter 8, is John chapter 8 and verse 12, okay? And in John chapter 8 and verse 12, it says, "When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, 'I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.'" That's the only verse I'm going to read out of the book of John today. It's a very powerful verse, and I think it says a lot. There's a lot of things that go on in our lives that we feel like we're walking in darkness sometimes, and I know I've talked about this before. And this light and darkness thing, though, it's a big deal for us. I think it's a big deal in the book of John. John talks a ton about light and darkness, and it's true. Everything in our life is light. It really is light and dark. It's good and evil, and a lot of times we might get confused and don't understand, what we're dealing with right now. Maybe we feel like we're walking in darkness. Maybe we don't see a path that we should be going down. Maybe we need God to light the way for us so we can clearly understand what it is that we're doing. Because there are plenty of times in our life that we don't know which way we should go. There's several paths we can go down. Angela and I deal with that all the time. We're like, okay, what is the right thing for us to do at this point in time? Which direction is appropriate for us to go? What is it that we should be doing? That's a very real thing, and if you're looking to make sure you make the right decisions in your life, you're going to be asking those questions and making those decisions. And Jesus said simply in that verse, though, he said, "Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Hey, in other words, you follow Jesus, you're not going to be making decisions in the dark. You're not putting a step out in the dark, just hoping that something is not there to stub your toe on, or there's not a Hot Wheel car under your foot or some Legos under your foot, because man, that would hurt. If you're walking barefoot in the dark and you step on something sharp like that, it hurts. And some choice words might come out of your mouth. If you have that kind of issue, you might say some things you wish you didn't say, right? Just because, hey, that hurt. And you're going to regret your decision and then regret the result of your decision. Right? Everything. That's what happens when you're making decisions in the dark. But Jesus said, hey, if you follow me, you're not walking in darkness. You're going to have the light of life. So in other words, your life will be lit. You'll be able to see clearly in front of you. Right? And Psalm 119, 105 said, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Right? Your word is a lamp for my feet. Hey, your word guides me. It lights my path. It helps me along the way. If we spend time in God's word, right, then we're going to be able to make better decisions for our life. We're not going to make sinful decisions. We're not going to make stupid decisions as often. We're still going to mess up. But we're not going to do these things as often. We're going to have more wisdom in our life. The honest truth is, the more I read God's word, the more I feel like I make wiser decisions. And that's a big deal. A lot of times we suffer the results of our own dumb decisions. So often we do that. But if we were walking in the light and not in the darkness, we're going to make smarter decisions. It's a very simple concept that many of us can't get a hold of. I was talking to Angela today about something silly, but it's just it is what it is. You've heard these people talk about, I don't know if you've heard it or not, I have. I've heard of these people talk about, like, let's say a young woman decides she's going to get married. They're going to have this wedding, and her parents say, okay, look, we can pay for this extravagant wedding, the wedding of your dreams, right? We'll spend $100,000. I've heard of this happening, and we'll spend all that money on this one event for you. Or we'll give you that money to start your life off with your husband. And you can have a cheap wedding. A small, cheap wedding. I've never heard of the female, the bride, the couple, whatever, taking the money. They always want the dang event. Take the money. Start your life off with a good amount of money, right? That's a wise decision. And a lot of times these marriages end in divorce or whatever. I mean, take the money. That's a wiser decision instead of wanting a one-time party. I mean, but that's an example, okay? It's silly, it doesn't happen all the time, but I have heard of that scenario happening. So that's an example though of not making wise decisions. So make a wise decision, and you'll make wiser decisions if you stay in God's word, if you walk in the light and not in the darkness, and follow Jesus. It just helps you make smarter decisions. And so often we do find that we need help making smarter decisions. So the first smart decision will be to follow Jesus. That's the first. In fact, what Proverbs say, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, which doesn't mean like be terrified of God, but like the reverence and respect and following God it's the first smart decision you're going to make. It really is. In Ephesians 5, verse 8 through 14, I'm going to read that because it's another light and darkness thing. So Ephesians 5, verse 8, it says, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of the light. For the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, and find out what pleases the Lord." Again, that's walking in the light, right? Following Jesus. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Which, by the way, expose them in your own life first. If you expose them in your own life and get rid of them, you ain't got to worry about somebody else exposing your darkness, right? For it is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret, but everything exposed by the light becomes visible. Again, expose your life to the light yourself, and you'll see it yourself, and you can get rid of it yourself rather than being embarrassed in public over it. Okay? For it is light that makes everything visible. This is why it is said, "Wake up, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." And that's my encouragement for you this week, and that's my charge to you this week is wake up. Wake up, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and let Christ shine on you. Rise up out of your dead sleepwalk. Let Christ shine on you. Expose yourself to the light this week. Allow the light of Jesus, the light of Christ, to expose your life, to expose your deeds, to expose your decisions to yourself, okay? So that you can make better decisions, that you can live a better life, and so that you can glorify God with your life. Because that's the number one thing we should be doing, is that our life should be pleasing to God. What does it say there? And find out what pleases the Lord, right? Let Christ shine on you this week. And when Christ shines on you and his light is in you, it shines towards others and it exposes their lives to themselves. Okay? And they expose their deeds to themselves. Can't help it. That light is contagious and it drowns out the darkness. So allow that light to be contagious this week. All right? If you have prayer requests, praise reports, comments, please leave them below. We'd love to hear from you. We do thank you for watching so much. We love you guys. My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. God bless you and goodbye.